What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm just getting back from summer break, moved into my apartment. I just wanted to make a video because I haven't done so in a while, and I've been gone. I haven't made any sort of posts, so I wanted to put out a video just kind of like talking about what I've kind of come to realize, but about society in general in the past, I would say like 3-ish months. And the gist of that is essentially that consumerism is the most detrimental factor to creation. If you constantly consume, you will never create. I also learned that consumerism does not only mean consuming things like eating things or drinking things. It can mean a whole lot of other things. And I've come to realize that that's what a lot of people are dealing with. Everybody nowadays, at least in my own generation, which is Generation Z, everybody is becoming such a shallow thinker and so much more of a group hive mind. Used to be a time not too long ago that I can remember before technology and short form content really took over the algorithms. I remember when people would have their own personalities, and there was quite a bit of people that were different and that would branch off from the crowd and do their own thing and beat to their own drum. And that's simply becoming more and more scarce nowadays. It's extremely hard as a university student at a D1 school with thousands and tens of thousands of students my age. It's extremely hard to find genuine, profound thinkers and people that do not just latch themselves into whatever is trending or whatever is acceptable by their clique or group. And myself, I'm no exemption to this. Myself fallen into traps like that myself in the past. I thought that I was perceived a certain kind of way, and I thought that doing certain things and behaving a certain way would earn me respect and validation, when in reality it didn't. And I feel like that's exactly what a lot of people deal with today. It's almost like people just are too scared and don't have the self-confidence enough to branch out and to do their own thing. It seems like it's just multitudes more convenient to just kind of buy into what you're told and roll over and die and kind of just do what everybody else is doing and be a sheep. And I see that happening a lot today. And the other thing that I see happening more and more is just the growing ridiculous amount of racism, sexism, all different kinds of just discrimination targeted at different groups of people. And it's totally manufactured. I think that people's algorithms and the media that they consume, specifically short form content, although long form content does also fall victim to this, but I think it's more short form content. It kind of desensitizes you. And I think that has been a growing trend for like the past 30 to 40 years, where people have just been being more and more slowly, and it seems calculatedly, desensitized to all different kinds of things. If you really think about it, in the 80s, there was the coke and the crack epidemic, where people were getting addicted to coke and crack, and they were, at an all-time high. The CIA was selling crack in low-income neighborhoods, and it's a proven fact. In the 90s, there was the whole birth of gang culture, like real gang culture. It's called the lawless 90s for a reason. And in the 2000s, we had 9/11, and we had the Iraq War, and that further desensitized people. And then in the 2010s, we had the rise of the internet, and things like YouTube and Vine, and early kind of renditions of short form content that weren't quite as detrimental as things like TikTok or Instagram Reels, but they were still doing harm. That was causing desensitization. And then if you look at the 2020s, it's more the same. We have Trump in office. I think that Trump was the final piece. It's almost like he's the king in chess, and the king is now corrupt. It's like we always had respect, and we had chivalry in the White House. It's like my favorite, personally, I'm not sure how everybody else's ideology is that's watching this, but personally, my favorite president is Barack Obama. I think that he's an exceptional speaker. I think he's an exceptional father, an exceptional husband. And I just think that he's probably the best we've had, either JFK or Abe Lincoln or Barack Obama. But Barack Obama is the only one that has been around since I've been around. And the thing about Barack Obama is that he's a genuine, real class act. And the thing about Donald Trump is that none of that is present. he's an insane narcissist. Is probably the most narcissistic person I've ever seen. And he lacks all respect. It's quite funny watching him talk sometimes. I mean, there's been an ongoing issue with Iran for like the past 4 or 5 months where he's been essentially negotiating a ceasefire and an end to the war. But it just hasn't happened, and it keeps falling through because Trump keeps being disrespectful. One televised interview, he will call the Iranian people, great thinkers, gentlemen, and profound, realists, and this and that. And the next minute, when they don't do something that he wants, or in turn they do something that he doesn't like, he will completely disrespect them and call them names, call them racial names. Disrespect and just being a complete jester. That's what Trump is he is a complete jester for everybody. There is no calm and collected Donald Trump. And that's been the descension of the 2020s, has been Donald Trump, with everything that he's caused, as well as, things like the Epstein files, where he's heavily implicated within them, and nothing is happening about it. It's just this calculated and very purposeful desensitization. And the final layer to that is the more and more that religious divide is being pushed. What I've come to realize and believe is that within the Bible and within most sacred texts, it's a proven fact that there's commonalities. There's commonalities between religions. There's, for example, Jesus Christ is mentioned in Muslim faith as well as Jewish faith, but he's not recognized as the divine God that he is in Christianity. So he's acknowledged, but he's not painted in the same way. And the way that I've come to think that it works is that there is a common set of morals and the recipe and formula to be a great person within every religious text. It's not really the story of the text that matters, it's what you take from it. I think within every religion, besides probably Satanism, there is constantly the underlying message is to be a good person that loves their neighbor and loves their family and does good for the world. And personally, I think that there are different religions in the world because people speak different languages, they're born different places, and it doesn't matter how you receive it, you just receive it. It's kind of like a computer programmer who is, let's say, Chinese versus a computer programmer that's American and speaks English. Their abilities can be exactly the same. However, the coding instructions and the way that the coder in China learns how to code is through Chinese text. It's written in Chinese with calligraphy, whereas in America, the person learns through English and, words that are written in English, in the English alphabet. And the only thing that matters in that equation is both of those coders and skill set and what they are able to do once they learn it. It doesn't matter how they learned it, they still learned it, and they can still end up in the same places and have the same qualifications. That's exactly the same way that I view religion. It's no different in my opinion. I think that as long as you are following a correct moral code, which it's extremely easy to understand what that is, at the end of the day, I think that a lot of the controversies in a lot of religions are actually rewrites. With things like the Catholic Bible, it's like you have things like the King James Version, the New King James Version, the New International Version, so many different versions. And who's to say that the people that edited those versions didn't go back and just tweak a few things to meet their specific ideologies and to push a certain agenda of hatred? How you receive the message and what messenger per se that you understand it by is not necessary. And I think a second part to that is the fact that as a religious man myself, and I'm sure it's probably the same in a lot of other religions, you are expected to be judged in the afterlife. So you live your life, you commit your sins, you do your good, and at the end, you're judged by the Creator. So why is it that people are taking it into their own hands to sort out the quote-unquote bad apples and thump their ideology when it's not necessary according to their own text? It's like, as a Christian myself, I think it's rather funny that there's Christians all around the world that think they have a right to dictate what another person does. It's like, that is for the Creator to do when everybody passes away. It's like, when everybody passes away, you are going to be judged when you pass away. It's like, that's the end of the story. It's within anybody's right to dictate what somebody else does. At the end of the day, there's things like murders and kidnappings and rapings happening every single day, and all of those things are illegal, but they're happening regardless. It's like, why would you try and push and serve your agenda that is hatred based and discriminatory onto people that you know are not going to obey it? It's like, when you try and shove something down somebody's throat, it's oftentimes not received well at all. And so with the crime statistics and the way that the world is today and the amount that people just have a disregard for authority, why would you ever think that people are going to obey your divine laws? It's like, it's never going to happen. You have no authority over anybody else. It makes no sense to me. I hope something can be done about those things, because our generation, Gen Z, is slowly looking more and more just kind of screwed as time goes on. And I hope not, but we'll see, I guess, as time goes on.